I don't know about you, but I am sick of this. I'm sick of it. Can't he just behave like a normal human?
Trump's MAGA loyalists are turning against him. Watch this CNN panel discussion on why this might be happening now.
Trump is unloading on Tucker Carlson, Meghan Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones, all of whom have criticized him and the war. Calling them low IQ and stupid nut jobs and troublemakers, Trump is claiming that their views are the opposite of MAGA, or I wouldn't have won the presidential election in a landslide.
I mean, honestly, like the president, 3D, yes, shut up. Shut up about that. You don't threaten to wipe out an entire civilization.
It is vile on every level. There will be nothing like it. Open the effing straight. How dare you speak that way on Easter morning to the country? Who do you think you are?
How do we 25th Amendment his ass? And if I was the Democrats, I'd stop poking Trump and messing with him. That only makes it worse. Like, you guys need to watch out. This isn't a guy acting like he's crazy. This is real.
Owens called Trump a genocidal lunatic, and she called for the 25th Amendment to be invoked. She responded to Trump's post tonight by saying it may be time to put up in a home. So President Trump is really struggling right now, trying pretty aggressively to shape the narrative. He appears to be talking to Iran through Truth Social. Not sure why that conversation can't happen in private. And then he is knocking down his one-time allies and trying to pretend as if he didn't talk to Tucker Carlson maybe about 6 weeks ago, if the New York Times is to be believed.
As recently as 2 weeks ago, Carlson in an interview with The Economist was still doing what lots of conservatives do when they want to differ with Trump, casting him as a victim of nefarious people around him, in this case, Israel.
What is, do either of you think that there is a constituency or an explanation for why the Meghan Kellys and the Tucker Carlsons are willing to, if Noah is correct, sacrifice a portion of their audience with a message that maybe they don't want to hear?
I mean, maybe they took the president at his word when he campaigned against doing, wars in the Middle East. I mean, his entire criticism of George Bush was a failed war in the Middle East and how it was a waste of American prestige and how it was essentially, we sacrificed our soldiers for nothing and we ended up losing American dignity and respect in the global order. That was, it's not what I said. It's what Donald Trump said to gain power in the Republican Party. And, I am not a fan of any of the people who are criticizing him, but I think maybe what united Tucker Carlson and Meghan Kelly and Alex Jones, people I vehemently disagree with, is that they actually took the president at his word. And they're just another group of people who've been suckered by this guy who lied to them to their face.
Saying they got suckered in is just victimizing them. All these pundits knew what they were doing when they rallied their base behind him.
I don't think they've been suckered. I mean, my thing is that, like, Meghan's saying, I'm sick of this. Why can't he just act like a normal human? And I'm like, he can't act like a normal human. That's why so many of us worked against him being elected, because we knew that he would have an itchy trigger finger if you gave him a big red button to push. We knew that he was erratic. We knew that he would be not right for this role, which is why so many of us worked to not have him elected. So these people either didn't realize that he was crazy and dangerous, which most of us did, or they didn't care. And now all of a sudden they're like, oh, hold on. If he actually nukes 90 million people, there's going to be blowback on us, and this is crazy, and he can't do it. But we've been saying this for forever.
She is saying that these conservative influencers need to take responsibility because it's them who got Trump here. They all are just trying to distance themselves from him now that he is too erratic.
I do want to play this Tucker Carlson bite from 2024, December 2024, because it's about who he thinks Trump is, and I'm sure plenty of people at this table might disagree with his read on it.
I would say Trump voters, like Trump himself, are really forgiving people. They don't seek revenge. They seek some measure of justice because the human heart longs for justice, but they don't seek to grind their enemies under their feet. That's what the left does.
A fair amount of projection maybe in there. Tucker Carlson has done this game for years now, right? I mean, not only is this, I think, the fourth or fifth time he's proclaimed World War III was about to break out, but he tries to maintain this dialogue with the president, thinking he can have influence. And I actually think it's pretty admirable that the president is like, I have pretty hardcore beliefs on this. You talk about Iran, Donald Trump's been saying the same thing since the early 1980s. Like, he is a broken record when it comes to the threat that Iran posed. And I guess I'm just the panel's Pangloss here, because I think that things will work out fine. I trust the plan.
It's possible we could get out of this, but it's hard to see from here because the ceasefire that we have is actually, we see that they have continual control. He's yelling, he's upset about it, but we are not bombing and they still have control.
They didn't gain that power. They've had that power. We're just seeing them willing to exercise it.
This begs the question, and I'm sure we all know the answer. What was the catalyst to them wanting to exercise their power now?
And at any point,
they
and
were
this is
never
the point,
willing to exercise it before the war.
In 1987 and 1988, they shut down the strait, and we opened it up by force.
So when I was in seventh grade,
This is a great decision. Right now, what is happening?
Right now,
what is happening?
we have the dominant military in the region. We are able to call the shots on this, not on the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. We could do it if we so wanted to. It would take more blood and more treasure. But there is, yes, the ceasefire is fragile. There's a concept of a ceasefire. But the number one point is, okay.
This is a snippet from White House press secretary briefing on April 9th.
This is a fragile truce. Ceasefires are fragile by nature. We've seen this with respect to the 12-day war with Iran and Israel last year. It takes time sometimes for these ceasefires to be fully effectuated.
You got 10 points, you got 15 points. The gaslighting is the fact that the U.S. is losing, that we're somehow defeated.
We are losing. You can't say this is a complete victory. We have spent $50 billion to kill thousands of civilians.
The counterpoint to what you're saying from the Wall Street Journal op-ed is that declaring victory is premature. They say Trump has achieved some of his war aims, but the Iranian regime remains a threat in the Strait of Hormuz, and the job is far from finished, despite what he promised last week. The unfortunate truth is that Trump put himself in this position. His inconsistent rhetoric on the war, claims of victory amid threats of unleashing hell, and its end to Iran's civilization raised global fears and undermined support at home and abroad. And Trump hated this op-ed so much that he sent out a Truth Social post saying the journal is the worst and inaccurate. He said there's nothing premature about this victory. One of the reasons I think people believe that they're declaring victory is because literally they were declaring victory yesterday. And then the president late last night, he says, in the meantime, while they're waiting for the Strait of Hormuz to be opened, our great military is loading up and resting and looking forward actually to its next conquest. Is he just moving on
this is just
to
totally,
the next thing?
This is totally mad. These are like the rantings of a mentally ill person.
Yes.
And so, the idea that you have soldiers and American troops who are just sort of waiting for him to make a decision on his whim. If you had like an elderly neighbor that was posting those things, you would probably do a welfare check on them.
In conclusion, stating CNN, in fact, Jones on Monday floated invoking the 25th Amendment to remove Trump from office. And when Jones is floating Trump's removal and Carlson is floating Trump as the Antichrist on the same day, that feels like a significant moment in the evolution of the political right.